today is day 29. I've completed 4 weeks. So technically, you could say that I've been sober for a month if it happened to be February, but it's May, so not really, not yet. Today is also the 1-year anniversary of me getting arrested. I got arrested on May 14th, 2012 for alcohol intoxication, and I had 2 counts because I had a beer in my pocket. That was the 2nd count. So the 3rd count would have been 30 days in jail, so luckily I didn't have 2 beers in my pocket. But I was on a bike, and they technically could have got me for DUI, but the guy was like, well, it's his first offense, so I'm not going to do that to him. And I'm glad that he didn't do that, because that would have really fucked me over. So anyway, today's story is about the first time I got kicked, well actually the only time I ever got kicked out of a bar. I've been refused service, I've been refused drinks and stuff, but that's the only time I've ever been kicked out of a bar. Like, I went to this bar to watch football and have a couple of beers. I wasn't planning on getting wasted, but that's what happened. After the game was over, I just sat there and I kept drinking, and I was like, oh, I'm going to try this shot. So I got a beer and a shot, and I was like, that was pretty good, and then I saw this other one. So I was like, I've never had Captain Morgan tattoo, so I got that one. And I was chasing the shot with the beer. So I got the shot and the beer like 5 times, and I think I ended up drinking about 14 drinks at this place before I decided that I had enough. I need to sober up because I have to walk 1.5 miles to get to my house. I walked to the bar, and my house was like 1.5 miles away. So I was like, I'm going to be sidestepping all the way home if I don't try to wear off some of this buzz before I leave. I don't want to get arrested for PI. So I decided the best thing to do is to dance it off. You know, I need to get around and move around. So I was going to dance to like any song. It could have been like whatever. I would have danced to it just because I'm trying to wear off my buzz so I can leave. It was still daylight outside. So after I danced to one song, the bouncer came over and he was like, you gotta leave. So I was like, alright. So I was like, well, guess I try to, you know, get all ready for the walk home, but I mean, I was just so drunk that I didn't, no, I was like all over that sidewalk, walking home, just like I knew I would be. So I get like halfway home, and I sit down on this little wall thing. It's like, you know, 3 feet off the ground, sit on this little thing like a seat, and I'm just like, man, I'm drunk. I can't even stay on the sidewalk. So I'm just going to sit here for a minute, and then this girl walks by, and I'm sitting there looking all depressed, like, you know, I'm fucking drunk, and like, I just want to make it home. And so I was like, hi, and she's like, are you alright? And I was like, I'm really drunk, man. I'm an alcoholic, and I'm just trying to get home. And so I talked to her a little bit, and so then I'm like, are you single? And she's like, no, I'm a lesbian. And then she was like, it'll be alright. So then it's starting to get dark, and that's when I blacked out. That's the last thing I remember is talking to this girl. And the next thing you know, I'm walking down the highway, and there's like a few houses like here and there, like far between each other, just fields, and I'm walking down this highway. I have no idea where I'm at because I live in a city, and it's divided up into like 1/10 of a mile blocks, and I'm just walking down some highway, and I'm drunk. And I'm just walking all over that, you know, side of the road where you can pull off at. There's like a highway, and then there's like gravel alongside of it. So I'm just like walking down the road, and I figure I should keep walking the way that I'm walking. I don't know why I thought that, but I had no idea where I was at. I was drunk, and I was kind of thinking, what if I was like abducted by aliens, and they just put me here out in the middle of nowhere? And I was like, they wouldn't do that. Aliens are nicer than that. So I was like, well, I'm just going to keep walking the way that I was already walking. Because it was basically like, I wake up and I'm walking. And I'm like, where am I? and I'm drunk as hell, and I'm wearing the same clothes that I remember I had on. I had a shirt that said Jesus Saves, and it was a tight t-shirt, and I was wearing my dancing pants, because I went out to the bar and I got kicked out and everything, and so I was like, okay, I'm walking down the road, so I just keep walking this way, and my foot, like there's a 5-foot drop off, like just an embankment, like my foot steps over the side too far and it like slips down that gravel side of the hill, and I just like fall right into this ditch like 5 feet down, and I hit my elbow, and that's what that dot is from. I'm not sure what that one's from, but this dot right here on the edge, on the tip of my elbow, that's one I got when I fell in the ditch after I got kicked out of the bar. So then I'm walking down the street, can't walk a straight line, and I got blood running down my arm right here, like halfway down my arm. I got this big streak of blood, and I keep walking that way, and I don't know where I'm at. I called my friends, like, try to get a hold of somebody. They're both asleep because it's about 2 in the morning. So then I finally get to the next city over, which is LaPorte, and it's like 8 miles away from Fort Collins. So I was like, dang, I walked a long way, because I had already walked like miles, and I'm like, geez, am I ever going to get to a town? I finally get to LaPorte, and I'm like, dude, it's like 3 in the morning, and I have a coworker that lives there, and I'm starting to sober up now and get my thoughts together, and I was like, my coworker is going to work at 5:30 in the morning. I could get a ride with her back to town to Fort Collins, and then I won't have to walk all the way back. So I'm walking around LaPorte trying to find her house, and I'd only been there once, and I was just like trying to find a house that looked familiar. So I could not find her house. I walked around for an hour, could not find where she lived at. I didn't see a car that I recognized. So I was like, well, I've got to work at 10 o'clock in the morning. I need to get back to town, so I just have to walk. And so I walked all the way back to town, tried to walk fast, but my feet were hurting. I must have walked like 20 miles that night. But anyway, I'm walking back, and I got fucking dry blood on my arm, and it's like 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm walking down the highway, and so I get back home, and I managed to, I get a shower. I took a picture of my arm like this. I got a picture, I like hold my arm up, and I look all like I'm just like wore down. I got trashed, and then I walked like 15 something miles, at least 15 miles. So then I get home and I take a shower, and I go to bed, and I'm just like praying that I can wake up. Because after I go to sleep, it's like I have to sleep for a while before I can really get up easily. But I managed to wake up, and I get to work on time. And the owner comes in that day, and usually I'm all in like a good mood. I'm awake, have some coffee. But that day I just kind of had my head down, and I was tired, and I don't think I really even did anything that day. But man, that was something else. Falling in a ditch after I get kicked out of the bar. I thought that was a pretty good story. So that's today's story. At least I didn't wake up in a hospital or go to jail